At first, good afternoon to everybody. I am Patrick Minot, the COO of Nomadic Solutions Company. Let's have a look on an agenda. At first, I will introduce you my company, Nomadic Solutions Introduction. Then we will talk about eco-driving, following the previous lecture of Mr. Saint-Pierre. And then we will talk about cognitive ergonomics. So who is Nomadic Solutions? I heard so many times today the word nomadic, so we are really in the right field. We are SME, so small or medium enterprise. We are less than 10 people, around 10 people, almost 10 years old. We were founded in 2003, and I am one of the co-founders. Our activity is a design and distribution of eco-mobility products. The turnover, we have some partnership with some competitivity cluster. I don't know if some one of you knows like Advancity or Moveo or Systematics, which are different competitivity cluster in France, which let's say put together big groups, small companies, academic organization, governmental organization as well. So we are part of Advancity, which is for the sustainable city and mobility. And we have also some relationship with IFP, which is Institut Français du Pétrole, Petroleum or Fuel or Gasoline Institute, French institute. And we have made some European project for mobility of pedestrian in the town, which is not the subject of this lecture. And we have already got some awards about our solution of eco-driving. First of all, we have two branches in our activity. The first branch is a distribution business with product of AVL product, automated vehicle location product, like geolocalization. For vehicle, here you have standalone product for goods, and we have also for personal trackers. That is a distribution of such product, which are based upon GPS and GPRS or GSM, let's say, technology. And that is the first branch. And we have another branch which is eco-driving. So this branch, eco-driving, I will develop furthermore. We designed the product of eco-driving. That is important, and I will tell you something about it. And we are part of collaborative project for, as I said, collaborative pedestrian guidance system, and a few others projects, but which are not the subject of this talk. So let's talk about eco-driving and report and solutions. 12 billion liters of fossil energy worldwide consumed every day, including 25% for transportation, which is a huge amount of fossil energy spent in the nature, which is represented by a fuel barrel of 65,000 kilometer height. You can imagine that's a tremendous issue. So eco-driving which is taught and used in a large scale, is a smart answer to reduce the mobility carbon footprint. That's, let's say, a solution, but let's have a look how we can do it. So eco-driving benefits, at first on an economical point of view. So it saves, of course, consumption. The maintenance of the car which will be less. Accidentology, less accident if you follow the right rules of eco-driving. And the selling value of the car which be higher when you resell the car if you use it quite softly or with an eco-driving, eco-responsibility behavior. And the second point is sustainable development. And you have two aspects. the Zen attitude, so you are less stressed, of course, and the carbon footprint, which is much less, and that's very important. And as you saw, the TCO, the total cost of ownership, is reduced up to 20% if you use the right rules of eco-driving. So, in the previous lectures, we talk about eco-driving, but we don't talk too much about the training. If you have, or we think that eco-drivers, it's not a natural way to behave. So you have to be trained for that. It's not very complicated, but if there is a training, it's good. So 2 methods, the right and the bad ones. The traditional methods, so you have a theory, simulator, on-road driving, result analysis, but of course you improve your behavior, but at least at the end, the natural behavior will come back. Comes back. So there is not really a benefit if you have only a one-shot eco-driving training. The second method is a training course with Ecogizer. Ecogizer is a product we have designed, of course. And there is a post-training follow-up. And if there is a wrong behavior, you have to redo a training up to the way there is a good behavior. So that is the way to follow how, in the time, how you behave with your car, not only one shot, but in the time, in several months, several years. So what are the different solutions we have developed around eco-driving? So this innovative product consists in the fact that there is no connection to the computer of the car, to the CAN bus. We were just talking about this in the previous lecture, about the connection to the OBD2 plug. Of course, the accuracy should be better, will be better, but the problem sometimes, you don't have the right data coming from the car manufacturers. The OBD2 plug needs to be added with the library of the car. So our idea is to disconnect completely the device from the car. So you don't have the tremendous issue to get the right library from a car. Because from a year on the same model, from a year to another year, sometimes few things change. And your device, which was okay with the, let's say, the Ford Focus 2004, is not available, is not correct, doesn't work with the Ford Focus 2006. So that's really a tremendous issue. So we disconnect completely from the CAN bus, and Ecogizer, either in a box, a device, which you put on the dashboard without any connection to the car, or with a smartphone. We will detail the different ergonomy of it. You, in fact, take in account the GPS value, and you have GPS in each of these devices. The 3-axis accelerometer device, 3-axis, and you combine this with the car parameter. So we have built an algorithm which takes in account these 3 data. With a single logger or Bluetooth logger, we are not connected over the air with a GPRS version. So you have to use some PC to connect on a USB plug, and you have some data after the trip. With a red ring, with a GPRS logger, at the end of a route, at the end of a trip, you send to a server the compiled data, the synthesis data, to a server, a distant server. We don't do it ourselves. We have some partners which are shown here. And you have certain elements to follow the driver behavior in the time. That's the way we can follow up after a training and to redo a training if necessary, or to incentive the right conductors, the right drivers. And on smartphone version, we will detail it. We have also the same data, but in real time. With the box, you don't have anything in real time, unless perhaps a buzzer, which tells you that you are not in the right behavior. But with the smartphone version, you have a screen, or even with the loudspeaker of the smartphone, you can have some audio indication. Some talks about the cognitive ergonomics. I'm not a searcher, I'm an entrepreneur, so perhaps for certain of you it's perhaps a low level, but I'm sorry for that. But it has already said before that the main issue for cognitive ergonomics is to identify driver needs in real-time driving, of course, and keeping the absolute necessity of driver security, safety. We heard about safety. Let's compare the GPS navigator on eco-driving. Two different ergonomics approaches. So on GPS navigator, the map display is very efficient, especially when the screen is well placed and no handling needed during the drive. So I think everybody is familiar with this kind of PND, personal navigation device. But by contrast, for an eco-driving helping tool, the only efficient real-time information is an onboard alert when the driver exceeds the threshold, turn, braking, and so on. So we don't need perhaps to have in real time every second information, because it's disturb the driver about on a safety point of view. But there is a follow-up necessity for eco-driving, because the eco-driving behavior is not natural. It's a long-term process, and for instance, to moderate your acceleration, but not limply, not softly, I should say, anticipate braking, take advantage of vehicle inertia, these attitudes are not really natural. That's what Mr. Saint-Pierre told the hyper-miler, the guy who follow up all these rules, but he doesn't follow the safety rules. So it's not natural, and we can go up to the hyper-miler as said before. So two main drivers types: the private individuals in personal mobility situation, and the professional, because these two kinds of drivers are not exactly the same goals or the same needs. And in professional, there are two kinds: the professional whom the job is to drive, like logistics, bus driver, delivery, and so on, and the professional who use the vehicle as a tool, like salesmen, maintenance, and so on. These professionals already use some embedded devices, so they don't need to be too much disturbed. That's very important. So two Ecogizer versions, as I said before. So for private individuals, the iPhone Ecogizer version, in fact, is to bring to consumer eco-driving in general use. Here are some screenshots, but I have some other slides who show the screenshot as well. So when driving, a single screen and text-to-speech advises when exceeding a threshold, and the post-analysis with screen status and global notes. That's what we think about. So let's use it. At first, when you don't drive, when you are stopped, you upload and install the Ecogizer on your PDAs, you select or create a vehicle, because it's really depending upon a vehicle. If you have a small one or a big one, the parameters are different. So we use, in an ergonomic point of view, we use some tools given by app application for the rolls bar, for instance. It's quite user-friendly. Then you fix your PDA vertically. You need to have a fixed PDA. You can't leave it on your glove box, for instance. Otherwise, the accelerometer will give you wrong indication, you can imagine. You fix your PDA, then go, and when you go, before to really start, he asks you the number of passengers and the additional load. It's very impacting the CO2 and the fuel consumption as well. And here are some screenshots, of course, you don't have to see everything when you're driving. The most important one is this one with the car, because it gives you some advice in real time. We think that eco-driving is important if you have some advice. We talk about that kind of things before during this day. It advises you if you are braking too harshly, or if you, not your speed, but braking or accelerating or turn. When you turn, and if it is too strong, it gives you an advice. So you have either visually, and at a glance you can see the screen, or if you want to have it by text, you can switch this blue figure, a blue character on, and you have only the, not only, you have also the audio text telling you be careful, you brake too harshly, and so on. And afterwards, at the end of your trip, you have several screens which give you, for instance, a note, an attitude, a global attitude, with the duration of your trip, the odometer, the distance, CO2 value, and so on. And you have some screen with a yellow ball, which gives you where you are on the screen. If you are on red or on green value, you have even your CO2 scale. And at the end of the trip also, you can have some driving time, acceleration time, deceleration time with the hard, medium, and soft data, which give you a global summary of your trip. That's we designed this application with a designer, not with an ergonomics. So I'm sure we could improve this application. But there are already 100,000 uploads on both platforms, one on Windows, one Marketplace, and above 40, 60, and 60% on iPhone on App Store. We have a paying version, and we have free version. Some other screen you can see, even afterwards you can see where did you pass. You have your route. You have also, you can select a record and you can review your trip. And the second version for professionals, as I said before, it's only a box. You put on the dashboard, you fix it. We give a mounting bracket on it. And at the end of the trip, it sends to a server and the different data, and you have on dashboard different figures. It's less for private, it's for professionals, so it's for fleet managers. And with that kind of device, after training and after continuing training sessions, the average fuel consumption reduction is around 10%. I heard from Andrew before in the presentation from Andrew, he said 4 to 6%. But I'm not sure there were training sessions involved. Perhaps Andrew could answer to this. No training session. I think the effect of training session is quite important. It will increase the fuel reduction, for sure. So we have noticed, because we sold already more than 2,500 units like that. So we have some feedback from the field. And the average fuel reduction is 10%, between 9 and 10. I forgot to tell you something. We can add a buzzer on this box, which gives to the driver, because there is no HMI, human machine interface. So you can add a buzzer, which gives you, depending upon the sound of the buzzer, which it can give you the type of wrong behavior, like braking or accelerating too much and so on. In conclusion, so for eco-driving purpose, performances real-time display are not essential. That's what we think. even if we made a smartphone application. But for professional, which is, let's say, 80% of our business, the display is not really important. Perhaps only sounds. Real-time embedded alerts with buzzer, light, text-to-speech is sufficient to advise the driver. And scoring, ranking is good emulation for driver, but in batch mode afterwards. And for professional use, that's very important to have on a server a complete summary. And the follow-up, of course, of eco-driving behavior by a big number of persons is vital to get sustainable results. I think it's okay.
Just a comment about your last slide. You were talking about buzzer, automation. As Guillaume Saint-Pierre was saying a bit, that's really the reality. Whatever experiment, drivers can be as very sensitive about sounds. So usually vocal or vocal information is dedicated, or buzz, or is dedicated to alert information. Meaning he has to react immediately, so it's worth it to make some sounds. Of course, as you said, batch mode is very relevant in terms of training, so you are aware about what was your day-to-day, for example, or after 1 week of use. So in terms of feedback for training, batch mode is very relevant, and of course eco-driving is not a priority functionality in comparison with all the other functionality that is possible to display to the driver. So that's just a comment.
Yeah.
Are there any other comments?
Yes, just a question. How do you calculate the fuel consumption if you are not connected with the EOBD?
That's a good question. We make a trade, a brevet, trademark on it with the algorithm. So we take in account on a statistic point of view and based upon physical formulas. And with statistic, we take in account the 3 parameters I told about, the GPS, accelerometer, and vehicle parameters. That's very important. And we put it in a machine, algorithm, the algorithm machine, and we mixed everything. But there is a statistic. For instance, for the first, let's say, 10 kilometers, the accuracy is much less than after. For sure, because we take in account there is a self-learning process. Because what is very important is the initial conditions. Normally, when you switch it on, the vehicle should be horizontal, because we take in account the rope of the roads. It must be horizontal, speed 0, getting its GPS signal. The position of the box should be not at the degree exactly at the right position, but it could take the offset in account. So there are many conditions, and if you are not right at the initial condition, it could take a certain time to have a good value.
You have to enter different parameters of
yes.
the car.
Yes, of course, yeah. That's what I put on the slide. Of course, on the server, there is a special screen for that. But here, for instance, here, that is the simple, because there are two modes, expert one and the simple one. That is a single one. And you have, for instance, the type of the vehicle. You have the gasoline, the carburant, the fuel, diesel or gasoline. You have the liter, the consumption, typical consumption given by the car manufacturer. And you have also the power, in din horsepower. You have to give that at least. And then the number of additional weight, number of passengers and additional weight.
How does it work for the professional version? I mean, it is installed in every vehicle, and at the beginning of the trip it is full, and at the end it is empty. How do you calculate?
Good question. Yes, you got it. We are, of course, it's one of the important impact, the weight, as I said. And if the weight is varying, like bus transportation, passengers coming in, coming out, we can't take in account that kind of things during a one trip. But each time you have to modify the weight, which is on the car or on the bus. And we are working, because we are still working on the developments, adding 2 sensors, one in the motor, in the engine, one under the car. And with these 2 additional sensors, we will take in account the load of the vehicle in a dynamic way. So very, very good question.
You said that for professional use it's more for fleet manager, but how professional feel about this system? Because maybe they think it can be controlled by the manager. So
Yeah, I understand.
ergonomics is just not connected ergonomics, and we have to take into account a lot of things, and the context is important.
Especially motivation.
Yes.
The
You're right.
driver is not motivated. Nothing
You're
will
right.
happen.
There is a much more important, I should say, social break. Is it an English word? Social break, frein social, social break, something like that. Yeah, it's less important in eco-driving application than in location, vehicle location, because with eco-driving you don't know exactly where, or the fleet manager doesn't know where is the vehicle. You don't give the location of the vehicle. In AVL, automated vehicle location, yes, you give it. But for eco-driving, there is not this issue which appears. So it's not really a matter, in fact. That's what we heard from the field. One of the arguments, the sales arguments, because we are in the sales world, we are in a business.
That's why you are here to give
Yeah, thank you to give. Yeah. In the business, when we sell the device, we say there is no location, and it gives a better aspect to the system, to the driver himself, because he knows that he is not followed up by his manager.